Okay, so recording has started. So they said we should let everyone know because of privacy policy. So remember yesterday I told you why we need to record so that you guys can watch later on. So if you are from America and you don't want us to see you, change your name right now. So day 2, design principles and elements, right? So for everything you have to do in this life, there are principles, right? There are principles. So for instance, if I want light to be in my house and there's a supply of electricity into my house, if I don't stand up and put on the switch, the light will not come up, right? So there are principles. If I should put on my gas and pour water and pour rice, I've made rice, right? So there's a principle of making it that if you follow that pattern, I tell people most times that cooking, like me now, growing up, I wasn't really even like being in the kitchen most times with my mom. But guy, I'm a very wicked chef, right? You can ask about me in the world, the most baddest chef in the world, you know that is me, right? So most of my cooking that I made was when I got into the uni, and I knew that okay, food is expensive. You can't be spending over 3K per day for food. Multiply it by the month, more you will be spending your inheritance. So I had to like, okay, it's time to start cooking, right? And I made stew one day and it was awesome. What did I do? The first time I called my mom, I said, should I do this? Should I do this? She told me, and I perfected it. Sometimes I even go on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube, you can learn some things that are wonderful. The only thing is that you follow the principle. When they say, okay, you are putting this small Maggi, put this, don't go and put 5 Maggi. Right. So if you follow the step-by-step procedure that somebody followed, you will definitely land somewhere. So it's the same thing with design, right? There are principles that you need to follow. So most persons will say, like I told you yesterday, people are always bragging. I design with Photoshop, I design with CorelDRAW. Bro, it's not really about your software, right? So if you are proficient with the software, good. But you might be proficient with the software and you don't understand design principles, right? Like for example, now, for those people that did assignments yesterday, you see that you can literally see the difference between what they did and what I did. Even though the assignment is so simple, right? They can actually draw a box right now, right? Look at this. They can draw a box like me, what I did. But the difference is that they understood how to use a box, but they haven't understand balance. Like when I was doing this yesterday, I took my time, make sure that everything is arranged properly, right? So when you understand design principles, even when you make a design without pictures, only text completely, if you understand design principles, the design will come out very well. All right. So number one, let's get into design principles. So understanding design principles are the fundamental guidelines that underpin effective graphic design, right? They underpin effective graphic design. So they help us create designs that are visually appealing and communicate our message clearly. All right. So I will explain this. When we say they're underpinned, that is, it is like the foundation, right? It is basic. So that is why in these 2 weeks, we try to dwell on this very much so that if you understand the principles and you understand how to use the tool by yourself, you can take on more tutorials by yourself, keep practicing, and you, before you know, you have skyrocketed, right? Like I told you, for each set, there are only students that I know that are still designing up to today, right? So people just came because they saw free class online. They say, "Oh, I'm not going to miss out in this Tunubu regime. Anything free, I jump on it," right? So, but if you are really intentional about this, you will see that you will get better as time goes on, right? So we said they help us create design that are visually appealing. So what do we mean by appealing and communicate? Now, in design, there are some people that will make designs that are so visually appealing, but it's not communicating the right message. So like I said, I like to use day-to-day examples to make you understand better. The kind of example I will give is, okay, let's say there are a group of guys and you see a beautiful girl, very beautiful girl, right? And then you say, oh, this girl is beautiful and that and that and that. And then you decide to walk towards her to speak to her. So either she now has like one mighty body odor or she can't speak properly or stuff like that. So that is kind of like a red flag. So it's the same thing with design. The design might look very fine, but it is not passing the right message. So it is like deceiving, right? So for example, you are designing for a healthcare brand, but we are seeing somebody that is cooking jollof rice in the poster, right? you are passing a different message entirely. So one thing is the aesthetic, another thing is that it is passing the right message. So you just like you need a table, a strong table, like a carpenter that needs a table to like make stuffs. Then decided to go and buy a fancy table that is not strong. Only one hammer on that table will fall, right? So for it to look beautiful, it also needs to also serve its purpose, right? So it needs to communicate the message clearly, right? So for example, during Valentine, the color for Valentine is red, white, right? Red and white are basically like the main color. So let's say you now decide to wear yellow and blue on Valentine's Day. You are celebrating love, but the color you are using is not working, right? But so this is things that we look into when making designs. If you look at people going for burial, you look at them, we are wearing complete black, right? Because they are trying to like pass a message. So when designing, you have to also make sure your design is communicating the message clearly. So the first thing we'll be looking at is balance. Balance in design, which is achieving balance in design. So how do we achieve balance in design? Achieving visual balance in design is like balancing weights on a scale, right? So balance is the distribution of visual elements in a design. Achieving balance can involve either symmetrical balance, where elements are mirrored. So if you look here, we have objects here that are symmetrical balance. So you have this circle, they are all facing each other. They are mirrored with each other. So we call this kind of arrangement a symmetrical arrangement, right? Sorry, not symmetrical. While we have the other one, which is called asymmetrical balance, right? Whereby you have some elements so big and the other ones are so small, right? But even though they are bigger and in different proportion, they will still make sense when you are arranging them in the design. So symmetrical, which is elements unevenly, but they maintain equilibrium, right? So that is what we mean by asymmetrical balance, right? Then the next one we have here is contrast, right? Contrast. So most of all these rules in design, they kind of like work together. So what is contrast? So contrast helps create visual interest. So what do we mean by visual interest? The particular one that is most important in a design, you're going to like spot it. So that's what contrast do. So to create contrast, we have various ways we make contrast. So there's contrast in hierarchy, there's contrast in color, contrast in size, contrast in shape, and more, right? So for instance, if you are looking at this, we have contrast in shape where we have circle, and this one is having a different shape. So let's say in a particular design, everything is in circular form, and you find this one that look like star. That means this one is different from the other one. So when making designs to pop out a particular message, we make that particular one different from the others, right? Then for contrast in colors, you can see this is in gray, this is in black, a bit of darkness, and this one is shining red. So before you look at every other aspect of this design, you're going to look at this one, which is more vibrant. So that is contrast in color. So here we have contrast in scale, or you can say contrast in hierarchy. So let's say you might have seen some flyers, right? Let's say maybe a church flyer. So you would see that the most important aspects of that design will look so much big than every other one. Let me look for an example from a design we made. All right, so look at this now. So 3 days tech workshop. You can see that this text here is way bigger than every other stuff you are seeing here, right? So you see present here looking so small, right? So this is like contrast in hierarchy. That is contrast in hierarchy of text and also objects. So whatever object is more important than the others would get a bigger focal point in the design. All right. So then we can now talk about contrast in shape, right? I think we have done that already. Contrast in shape is here already, and size and more, right? So that is that. And I told you about hierarchy. So look at this now, for example, right? This is no hierarchy. Everything is straight, straight, straight. So you would view all of them as equals, right? But now look at this. This is bigger than this, this is bigger, and this is bigger, and this is smaller. So this is like a template for a design. So hierarchy makes your design arranged properly and helps the viewer to know which and which one they are supposed to look at. which one is more important, which one leads to the other, right? So when you understand hierarchy, you and apply it in design, it makes your design functional, right? Then we have alignment in design. So proper alignment keeps a design looking organized and easy to read. So alignment is the arrangement of elements in the design to create a sense of order and unity. So proper alignment ensures that a design looks organized, right? For example, look at this part of repetition. You can see that if I should bring out a ruler out here and place it here, bring out the ruler and place it here also, and on the red, you'll see that everything is meeting at the same point. There is a form of arrangement, right? So this is what we mean by alignment. So when you are arranging, when you finish your design, it is proper, it is paramount. If you don't do it, if I was a police officer, I will arrest you, right? So you are supposed to check, is this design, the design that I make, are they properly arranged? Is this one in Sokoto and this one in Abuja, right? Like where our sister is, right? So you have to make sure that everything is in a way, right? Everything is in a way. Don't spread them up and down. Make sure that it is arranged properly. So I think that design is not about too much things. It's not about the light that they are packing in design, 3D flares, 3D imaging, pictures. It is about arrangement. You can have all the resources in this world, but if you don't understand how to arrange design properly, you have just designed complete jargons. All right. So then we now have proximity in design. All right. So proximity in design means items placed together are perceived to be related, right? So let's say in your estate, you are living with your family, right? Another person from another family cannot come into your house and start living with you. So in your family there, your father, your mother, your kids, your brother and sister, you guys are living together. So people perceive that you guys are related. That is why you are living together. So it is the same thing in design. All right. So I wanted to show you an example. Let's look back at one flyer I made. Yeah. So items placed together are perceived to be related. So let's look from the top here. So you see the social media icon, everything is together, right? The hashtag is here, the logo is here, the team together is here. Our speakers, they are together in one compound, right? It's not that one speaker is here, another speaker is not here. Side abstraction, we place them together. Then here we now have address, time, and date. So with just this little arrangement, you can create a simple design, right? A simple design which won't stress you. So if you follow proximity, knowing that, okay, I should put this together with this. Now you can see that we also tried the design in another way and it still came out very good. Reason being that we follow the rules of proximity. So when designing, you have to always put this in mind: balance, contrast, alignment, and what? Proximity. But it doesn't mean that when you are designing, you'll be thinking in balance, contrast, no. It is over time. When you keep doing this, like without knowing, you would be applying it, right? You'll be applying it. Then why those that are placed further are perceived to be separated. So we don't jam pack all the informations together. That is why you see some informations are so big, why some are so small. So the ones that are placed together are perceived to be what, like we said, are perceived to be what? Related, right? And next, we have repetition, right? So what was repetition? This thing they blink before. They blink before, I mean. Okay, they want off. So repetition, repeating of design elements like colors, fonts, or shapes can tie a design together. So explore how repetition adds consistency and coherence. So repetition involves the consistent use of design elements such as colors, fonts, or shapes to create patterns and unity in a design. So when we are designing, there is something called consistency, right? So if you are designing and the brand color of a brand is blue and white, all over their social media accounts, I'm going to send a brand link that I'm working with in the group chat right now. Let me see. I'm managing the account, so you guys can follow us. I'm going to put the Instagram link. So you're going to see something that for every design that we have on our social media account, for every design we have there, we have the same particular color, right? We have the same, but I'm looking for the Instagram, not Facebook. Please hold on. Oh, it's all Facebook here. Okay, this is our Instagram. So I'm going to copy this so you can go and check it. And if you love us, just give us a follow. Where's our chat group? So the brand name is New Vision. It's a wellness center currently in Owerri. We just launched new. So you check it out. So you realize that all the designs we made there, the brand color for that brand is green and a bit of, I think the orange is looking like pink. I'm not really sure. But you realize that there's a pattern with our design. We are using the same font, right? Just two fonts. I'm using Gilroy and Gallins, right? When we start talking about fonts, you understand what I mean. So you find out that all our designs, I think I have the designs here. So, but if you want to check, you can check on the Instagram and you'll see most of the designs we've made. So there's something we do that ties the designs together, right? So it's either we are using the same color, or we are using the same brand pattern, or we are using the same kind of font. So the reason is that wherever you see our designs, you would know that it belongs to this person. So wherever you see MTN design, you will know that
Is it just me? Please, I can't see anymore.
hello. All right, I'm back. So one of my internet went off. I just connected with another one. So I was talking about unity in design. So I want to get our social media design post. So if you look at this now, you see the color. Though the logo here we used white, right? We used white. So in design, when we make our brand guideline, we can have option of making white. But look here now, the logo is green and orange. Here we have green and the orange also. So anywhere you're going to see this particular brand design, the colors is going to be about this particular color. We are not going to change it for any reason. So yeah, we made a carousel, right, for World Mental Health Day. So this is the first slide. We have another slide here, which is white, but you can see that the colors we are using all through is the same color. The only colors that can come in is white and black. So you can't, when we are talking about unity, this is what we mean. Unity in text, that is in the font, unity in the color. This picture, when I downloaded it, the color was blue. Let me see if I will see it in my downloads. The color of that stuff was blue. So I had to take it to Photoshop and edit it, right? Change it to green because the brand color is green and orange. So when designing, you have to always put this in cognizance about unity in design. All right. Then I said repetition in colors, fonts, and shapes. Shapes also. So if you look here, let me get back here. So from the logo, we have something here like a star, right? So if you look closely, you realize there's something like a star in here also. So in whatever design we are making for them, you will notice this pattern is always there. There's something like a star everywhere. We wouldn't change this star. In anything we are doing, that star will appear. So that whenever people see this, even though the logo is not there, when you see this star shape, you will say, oh, it's that brand. It belongs to this brand. So that is what we mean by repetition in design. All right. So these are the elements we have in design. There are a whole lot of them. So you can see unity in same color, it unifies them. You're looking here. So if you look here now, different color, but same size. So same size can unify and same color can unify. So we have scale and proportion where we have sizes, ratio, and division. And then finally, emphasis. So I think this emphasis was also explained in contrast, whereby the important part of the design is given like a different color. So if you look here, this is what we mean by contrast in colors. So everything here is black, but you'll be seeing the pink one, right? The pink one will show than the others. So that is something we can use to like explain contrast. So these are the list of what we mean in design principles. The first one is balance, contrast, alignment, and then what proximity and repetition. So now we'll be moving into something more complex, which is elements of design. Elements of design. All right. So under elements of design, this is what we'll be doing. So we'll redesign basically most of these stuffs I did here. I've already done them already, but I'll redesign them again to explain what they mean. All right. So in elements of design, the elements of design are the building blocks that graphic designers use to create their work, and understanding these elements is essential for designing effectively. All right. So if you understand this stuff here, like this is basically the foundation. If you understand this, it will be very easy for you to make any other kind of design. All right. So the first element of design is what we call lines. Lines. So lines is like the most basic one ever, right? So if you can draw lines, you'll be able to do any other thing. All right. So lines can create movement and direction in a design. So that's what we use lines for. We use lines to create movement and direction in a design. So lines can be straight, they can be curved, they can be thick, they can be thin, and more, right? Depending on the kind of line that you want to draw. So you would say, how would we draw lines, right? I'm going to show you that very soon. We use the freehand tool to draw lines. And I think I did something like that yesterday. And then we have shapes. So shapes are used to define objects or areas within a design. So they can be geometric, they can be circular, they can be in squares or free-form shapes, right? Or as you call them, organic shapes. Then we have color, right? So color is a powerful design tool. It can evoke emotions and set the tone for a design, right? So we'll explore the color wheel later. Gifts. We'll explore the color wheel later on as our class progresses. All right. So then there is texture. So texture, what is texture? Texture adds depth and tactile qualities to a design. So it can be both physically like on paper or implied visual texture with patterns, right? Then we have typography. So typography also, all these that I'm saying, there are various topics we are going to cover on later, right? But we are just breezing through them now. So typography is the art of arranging type. We'll delve into font selection later, hierarchy, and the role of typography in design. All right. What all this does. Gift. Pure water. So we'll start practicals now. So just
Hmm? Hmm? New biscuit. Mm-hmm. Kebishi. Kebishi. Hello. That quite do come with avoid.
All right, we are back. So somebody was sharing biscuits. Mr. Newman, here's
Mm-hmm.
our own biscuits. Please, I just off my mic. You on your mic and started sharing biscuits, and you are not giving us. So let's get back. So we are going to recreate this stuff, and I'm going to show you. So this is one of your assignments also. So just follow along. All right. So let's draw them one after the other. I'm going to move this ones to this side. So the first thing we have there is line. So how do we draw the straight line? We have freehand tool here. So yesterday we talked about the pick tool, shape tool, and then crop tool. Then we have zoom tool. All right. So we have the freehand tool here. So inside of the freehand tool, there are other tools there like the 2-point line, bezier line, pair line. When we start doing in-depth exploration of CorelDRAW, we'll get to see how all these other lines are used for drawing. But for now, we'll use freehand, and that's it. I promise you, basically, it's the freehand tool you're going to use like almost all through whenever you want to make designs most times, right? So the freehand tool is used to draw lines. So you want to draw this particular line, you click on the freehand tool, right? Or you use the shortcut, which is F5, the function key 5. Then you draw the line, right? So to draw a straight line, it's not like when you are holding a pencil and you are dragging. That is basically like a freehand drawing, right? But if you want to draw a very straight line using the freehand tool, what you have to do is you are going to bring your mouse, all right? Then left click, then move your mouse. So I'm trying to recreate what we have there to the extent you want it, and you stop, right? So just like the same way we drew a box, just like how we drew a box. Okay, drawing of a box, you have to drag the mouse. But for line, to draw a straight, very, very straight line, you have to like left click, tap, then move your hand to the direction you want to go, wherever you want to go to, whether you are drawing a straight one or the one that is going upwards. Right. So if you are drawing like this and you feel that the line is not that straight, you can click on Control on your keyboard. If you click on Control, you will draw a very, very straight line. So here we have the first line. So I think it has equal size. So I'm going to make it like 3 by 3. Then I'll give it so I told you about outline. So you can see that this one is more thicker than this, right? So the reason being that you can see the outline here is 0.5. So increase the outline to like, let's see 2.0. It's not that thick yet. Let's see 4.0. I want it to be very visible. So 8.0, yeah. 8.0 would have it very, very thick as this. Now, this thing you are seeing is depending on how large you make your screen, right? Then we'll go to draw a box. So I think we already know about that. So we have the rectangle tool to draw squares and rectangle, right? By dragging in the window. So if you click on your rectangle tool, just draw whatever you can. Then give it equal size. Always remember, I always give them equal size, 3 by 3. So there's a reason I do that, so that everything will look arranged properly. And our airline size or outline is 8.0, right? Then we have this next one. So all I have to do, instead of drawing it again, let's just duplicate, right? So not waste our time, we just duplicate it. So I just duplicate it. So what I'll do next is I can either draw another box or I'll just copy and paste. Like, let's just copy and paste. And paste, Control V. So if the size is 3.0, half of 3.0 should be 1.5. So 1.5, right? So now it is at the center. So I can move it with my mouse to here, but to get a perfect arrangement, instead of doing that, I told you yesterday to move items to the left or to the right, you hold them together and I'll click letter L, it goes to the left. So meaning that we're going to give this one black color. So you can see that as this one I have black now, we cannot see the other one, right? Because that one doesn't have a color. The color here is showing none. I'm going to make it white. All right, so now we have this. Now this one is volume. I haven't explained this. So volume means 3D designs, right? Something that look 3D in 3D format. We didn't explain negative space now. It is for another class, right? So let's just keep drawing. So now how do we achieve this? There are various ways I can actually do this, right? I can choose to like draw a box like this. So let's say I drew the box and I say, okay, 3 by 3, right, equal size. So the next thing I'll do is I'll convert this box to a curve, right? So this is one way I want to do it. I'm going to try different ways. So I'll show you that when making designs, there are no particular way you have to follow, right? So if you know different ways, as far as you arrive at the assured answer, right? So let me make it very thick so that everybody can see it properly. So we are going to convert this to a curve. So look at, before I convert to a curve, yesterday we used this aspect, like we made here 0.3 and we have a rounded shape, right? 0.3 and everywhere changed, right? Now, that same thing we did here, we can actually use our shape tool like this and just move this around and we'll have a curved shape without writing it here. And the moment we move it around here, it's going to have effect here also, right? This is now for a box that has not been curved. Now to curve this, to convert this to a curve, we'll have to press a shortcut, which is Ctrl Q. So if you don't click on Ctrl Q, you can right click and you go to convert to curves. So whatever way you want to do it, you right click, you look for convert to curves and click it, or you click on Ctrl Q on your keyboard. So I'm going to do convert to curves using Ctrl Q. So the moment we do that, hold on, I'm going to duplicate this box so that I'll be able to explain this. So here, this one I've not converted. If I do like this, I can convert here to curve, right? This one now, convert to curve, Ctrl Q. The moment you convert to curve, you will see blue lines around it. So if it is still showing small boxes like this, it means I've not converted to curve. But this one, it has converted to curve. So I'm able to like manipulate this, move these stuffs around, right? So I can actually use this and change this shape into something else, right? I can actually create new shape. In fact, these little points you are seeing here, we call them nodes, right? So we can actually create our own nodes by double tapping here twice and we can move it out, right? We can actually do like this. Create another shape as much as we want, right? So if that is why I say basically in design here, what I advise students most times is to learn how to use the curve tool, right? If you know how to use the curve tool, I promise you, you'll be able to like design a lot of logos, different kind of thing, recreate a lot of stuff if you know how to use the shape tool, right? So the first step is to convert the box to a curve and then you are good to go, right? So now this is my box. I'll convert it to a curve. So now I can now manipulate it by bending here to this side. Let's see, let me drag everything. So you can drag these things by touching each node, right? Bending them, right? Another way, you can move everything at the same time by drawing a box over that particular area. Then you can move here like this, right? So here it's facing here, so we can duplicate, clicking Ctrl D, moving here to here like this. So I want to move here around also. So I'll hold them and click B so that they will meet at the bottom. So you see, I'm zooming in. Remember, I said you can zoom in using your mouse by scrolling with your to make sure that everything is Singemenge, touching each other. I think we'll manage this one like that. So I can now duplicate again, right? So then I can go back to my shape tool, place it down there. Oh my God, no. Put two of them. So just like that, we have created like a 3D shape using a box. All right. So if we don't want to use a box, we can also use a line, right? So I'll show you how to use a line and achieve this. So we can draw a straight line looking at where the first one is facing. So I'm going to just draw a straight line like this, right? And draw this one, connect it to here, connect this one to here. So we can actually connect these boxes, these lines we are drawing together to draw a shape. All right. Then use this to rearrange it. So if I should increase the airline of this 8.0 is kind of looking too much. So now we can now delete the aspect we don't want. So there's a tool here, which is called the virtual segment delete tool. So inside of all these tools, if you tap on this line, this arrow, there are other tools inside. So I go to the measurement delete tool, and I can delete actually this one that outside, delete this one that inside also, delete this one here also. So here I can increase my airline, right? Something like this. Though it's not looking like that because I did not measure it. I didn't get my actual measurements. But this is like basically what I did before. Right? So you can see that this one doesn't have a sharp edge, but this one does have. So how we solve that is that if you click on F12 on your keyboard, it's going to take you here, and you can change the line caps to rounded caps instead. And you will have rounded edges instead. So as I group them like this, I can now give it the size I want, 3 by 3. So that was how that was done. Then for organic shapes, so remember I told you when you draw a box, to convert to a curve is Ctrl Q. Now there is still another curve inside the curve, right? So if I say Ctrl Q, I can easily move these nodes around, right? Move them around as I want, as I please. All right. But apart from that, we can actually still convert these to like more curves, right? And that is where the thing gets interesting. So we can now tap here. So remember before I said all these stuffs are called nodes, right? So these nodes, I told you that you can create your own node, right? By tapping twice on this straight line. Pam, pam, it will appear. Pam, 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 pam. Another blue line will appear everywhere, right? Depending on what you want to do. So basically, you can create like nodes as you want. You can do that. But now, that is not our focus. We want to create organic shapes. So these particular ones, they are like geometric because they are like straight, no curve around them. So if you want to create curves this time, instead of tapping twice, we just have to tap once, pom, and you will see a black dot there, right? So when you tap and you see that black dot, because you have tapped with left click, the next thing is to tap with what? Right click. You right click, then you will see to curve. first step, you left click. After finish left click, you right click. Then you say to curve. I'll do that again. You right click. Sorry, you left click. Then you right click and you say to curve. If you click on to curve, you will see straight arrows appear. Then you can move these arrows, right? You can move these arrows as you want. Then you can even delete these nodes. Please, if you don't have anything to say, there's no point putting on your mic. Unless you want to tell me something. Like I said, I just ran back from work to come and do this class for you. Why are you stressing me? If you have a question, just on your mic, tell me. But to on your mic, I hear your baby. I don't want that. So next thing here, these nodes, they can actually be deleted, right? So you can tap on them and you right click and you say delete, right? Tap, delete, or there's add also. You can add extra nodes. If I say add, you see an extra node appear from nowhere, right? So if I should say I want to delete here, I can say delete and it's gone. So I'm clicking Ctrl Z to get back. Now, if you don't want to go through that stress, always right clicking and left clicking, you just double tap on that node. Pam pam is going to disappear. Pam pam is going to disappear, right? Anyhow, like that. So if I say, okay, go away, I can now tap here and say to curve, and I can curve here upwards and delete this one also. So you can create organic shapes like this, which are looking like leaves or whatsoever. I know this is looking like a Pepsi or what. Whatsoever, I'm not even sure what I designed. It's looking like something. So we can group it and we'll say 3 by 3 also. So this is like an organic shape, which we created from a box, right? I think it's looking like a cowrie. I want to rotate it also. Calling me like. So that is how we create organic shapes, right? Then we have value. So value is like different tints and shade of colors. So when we start talking about what do I call it? Color. When we talk about monochromatic, analogous, that is in color theory, we're going to understand this better, right? So there are values like various shades of a particular color. So you can see down here, this is purple. These are various shades of the same kind of purple. This is black and various shades of them. So let's also draw a box for that. So we are basically going to use it as practice, not that we are designing yet. So I'll duplicate the box. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's see. Control C. Oh God, Control V. Oh my God. I have one here. I'll make this one actually black and this one white. So we'll duplicate it, Control D, and duplicate again. I think we just need 4, right? So just like this. So this one should have, I'm going to use 20%, I'm going to use 40% here. I'm going to use 60%. And here will be 80. Right? Then this last one shouldn't be that hard, right? So we just selected yellow. You can use red in your own or whatever. Remove the airline or you can leave it there. Then if you duplicate this last one, which is texture, so I already explained what texture is. So most times we might not even really use the texture, which is here in CorelDRAW. You can download from sites when designing. But if you want to do that from here, we have what we call the interactive fill tool. Then Here we have the uniform fill, we have fountain fill. We are not going to touch them today because there are still other classes for that. And then we have vector pattern, and then we have bitmap pattern and two color pattern. So all these are like texture fill. So there's a texture fill here also. You see that? If I should click here, you're going to see different kind of textures. So this is what we mean by texture. Like I told you before, a kind of a rough pattern. So anyone you please to use, just try them out. So we have various samples in here.
I'm
And
not seeing your
this
screen,
stuff, are you serious?
honestly.
Let's confirm. Can every other person,
Yes.
No, it's
if another
yes,
person
I
can
can't
see,
see your
yeah.
No, I can't see again.
I can see.
Wait, I want to know if one person can see. One person can see, right?
No,
Yes,
I
Hello.
can't see. I
yes,
can't.
yes.
I can't see. I can't.
Somebody can see.
I
Okay,
can't
those that
see
can't
Yes.
see,
any
please
of it.
don't talk.
I've
If you can
seen
see,
before.
oh my God,
I
I
can
cannot
please
see
see. I
your
can
listen
see.
to me. You that cannot see, don't talk. Don't talk. Person that can see, talk. Who can see?
I can see.
Ah, thank you. So
I
since
I
one
I
person
can see.
can see, if you're not, I know. I say since this person is seeing, it means that the problem is from your network, right? So if you're not seeing properly from your own side, it means your network is having issue. All right. So for the person to be able to see what I'm displaying, it means my network is fine, right? So it's not a miracle. So just make sure you move around. All right. Omo Akilde, do you have a question?
Not a question. Actually, before I could see your slide, but immediately the other person complained I couldn't see it any longer.
Okay, but
And
you can see right now,
also,
right?
no, it's just bringing the.
It's fine now.
I don't know what has happened now. But before it was fine.
You are seeing the names now.
Yes, the
What are you seeing
names.
right now on your screen?
The
Yes,
names.
now I'm the one that moved to that place. Yes, that's where I am right now. The one
Okay,
that came there. So
okay,
that
okay.
yeah.
So my question now, not like
Oh,
as in I'm not trying to take you back, but I just want us to be on the same page. On the current
okay.
draw, I don't because when you started last and yesterday, I didn't join on time. But today, by the time you wanted to bring up the boxes, my network threw me out. By the time I came in, you started again. So I would like to ask, where will I click to get all these boxes to start?
Mm,
If I
okay.
want to use, I'm sorry about
So
this.
this no problem. So here we have our toolbox, right? So there is this box here that is called the rectangle tool, right? So the rectangle tool is what we use for drawing boxes. So if you draw box, just draw. That is just how we get the box. So all
Okay,
these particular boxes that we drew here, they are not here. Hmm? It is
okay,
from this box that we converted them and started making all this. So for example, when I drew this particular one that's here, so let's say I duplicated it. So to duplicate, like I said yesterday, is Control D. If I can duplicate it, Control D. So I said the size of this box is 3.0 by 3.0. So I want to make this one to be half of it. So what I'm going to reduce is the width, which is 1.5. So this I have this one and I have this one. So I'm going to bring this one here. So to be sure that it's aligned properly, I'm going to hold them together and say letter L. So it moves to the side. So this one we have color black and this will have color white. That was basically what happened there. So it's not that there's like a shape that looks like this. Then I gave it an outline of 8.0. Right. So that was how that was done. I might not be able to do everything back now because we have limited time, but it is recorded,
no
right? So you're
problem.
able to see
No problem.
how
I've
these other
gotten
ones.
it.
All right.
Yeah,
We're
thank
done.
you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So for those who have PCs and are connected with their PC in the class, I would advise for as you keep trying to join the class, as we are doing it, you are trying to also work on your PC. And as time goes on, we might also ask you to share your screen. Let's just see what you're doing, right? So it makes it more fun. So it wouldn't be like I'm the only one doing everything, right? So it wouldn't look like magic. Okay. So all right, then we have shapes. So I wouldn't go back and type again one after the other. I'm not going to duplicate this, Ctrl D. So before I go on, I'll make this one, the arrangement will be at center. Then center also. So I'll duplicate more, PM, duplicate. So I can now hold everything as once, just duplicate again, Ctrl D, bring it down. So since this one is line, the other ones will put their own name. So this is shapes. I think the name for this one is white space / negative space. We're going to explore this later. I don't want to explain this right now. So I'll put 3D on this, 3D / form. I will say volume. Then this one should be organic / free form, anyone. Then I think this was called values, or should I say hue or tint? Then this is color. And then we have textures. So remember what I said, when you want to type, there are two ways we use this text box. It's either you click like this and type, or you draw like this. Now, if you draw like this, you will have the text like it's inside. So don't do that unless you are doing it for a purpose. Whenever you want to type, most times here, you just need to just tap and type. That's all you need to do. So now you can see that we don't know if our arrangement is proper, but I can see it even with my eye that this is not arranged. So if you want to check, I always tell you about alignment, right? So if you bring out this line and place here like this, you will see that they are not on the same line. So how do we solve this, right? So I'm going to group all these items. Remember, proximity items are close together, are perceived to be related. So I'll group Ctrl G, all of them, Ctrl G. This one doesn't need group. It's just one item. Then group again, Ctrl G. Then group this one, Ctrl G. So what I'll do first, I want to make sure that everything here is centralized. So I will hold here together. Remember, I told you vertically and central and horizontally have different way of centralizing. So since this one is this vertical? I think it should be vertical. Anyhow, so this one's a straight line like this. To centralize them, we are going to click letter C. You see what happened there? To select it. Control Z. Let me make this zoom at 60%. So if I should select these ones together, use letter C, you see that they are now aligned at the center. So we'll do the same for everyone. So you should do the same thing also. Even though you think that you have arranged it well, always check like this. You're going to make your work look properly arranged. See, and it's arranged, right? So now we'll do the same for everything here like this. Hold them together and say E, right? E also. I'm going to move these ones like this. So I'll do the same thing here also. E and E. E, me, da, we. Right, so I'm going to cut it from here. I'll take it into our own class because I've been doing this thing in C10. So page 2, if I want consistency in everything we are doing. So we just put our names like we did yesterday. Let me look how I typed my name here yesterday. I would have copied this, but I didn't save this stuff yesterday. So I had to import it as a picture. So these are design principles / elements. So remember what I said? I said we'll break the text. So Control K, I broke them. I'm pasting it here. All right. I have to make sure that everything is arranged. Okay, so design principles and elements. So this is what we've done. So we are now going to practice something before we close the class. So for design principles, so apply this principle in a very simple simple design. So let's say somebody wants to design a business card, right? That's what we'll just apply these design principles in them. So the size of a business card is what should we use a business card? Okay, hold on. Let's create like a simple design. We are not going to bring in image or anything. So I'll make this box 5 by 5. Let me make it 10 by 10. And the problem is that I don't know what I want to design for. So we are going to apply the principles of balance, contrast, and then alignment in this design. So just hold on with me. Coming. Okay. Yeah, is this stuff I'm looking for? Oh God. Okay. Let's apply this design in this. So we need a background, but we don't have a background, right? So let's say we are trying to do free, or let's say intro session. What's your class name? So let's say C12 design. I'll say DCEP design class. We're not going to use colors for this. DCEP design class. I'm going to say info session. So at that top there, there's supposed to be like a logo, but I don't have a logo yet. So I wouldn't be using Arial. I don't like Arial, so I'm changing the font type. I'll be using Gilroy. So this is the kind of fonts I'll be using instead. I'll say Gilroy bold. Then I'll break this apart, right? Control K. And I'll make this one, instead of bold, I'll use medium. Now it's the same font type, but different font class, right? So then the next thing I will want to do is to type some things underneath it. So for the brief that I want to write on the body, it means that the text has to be smaller, right? So we'll make it like, let's use 13, or let's let's use 15. Let's see how that is going to look like. So we see introduction to the DCEP design class. Benefits, plans, and introduction to the community. All right, so I'm going to make this like a bit bigger. I'm looking which one I should make smaller. I think the info sessions will be bigger. So I'll make this one instead of looking, yeah, because like this one is taking. So I'm going to like just draw a simple straight line to demarcate this part. So you see, we haven't even done anything on this design and it's already looking good, right? This is an info session. So we'll be inviting some people to speak for the event, but we don't have any pictures yet. Okay, so I can duplicate this. So like in people and events, since we don't have that, I'm going to just use what we have. So I'm going to apply this stuff, these effects that we have here. So if I should round this, let's say 0.3. And that is a curved shape. All right. So we can stop there, but I don't want us to use, okay, let me leave that. We'll do that in another class. I'm going to put the names of our speakers. Let's see, let me put my name. No, let's just say Josh. Oh, please don't anger me right now. So Josh Frank and who? and Bola Turumbu as one of my mentors. So we'll duplicate this. So name him, let's say he's a brand designer. So it can be bigger than his name also. So I want to use, let me see if left, let's make it centralized. So is the one sponsoring the event. Then we would need time, date, and blah 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 blah. So most times we can use like, what did they call it? I think this thing is looking a bit empty. Ayoba logo. So if you realize, you see that every single item I'm using, I'm making sure that they are aligned. I'm using those shortcuts that I told you guys about to make sure everything is aligned, right? So down here, I can decide to just maybe draw a black box here. So basically, you're like kind of done. I'll give this like a white color. Right. So instead of using icons, I'm going to like basically just type it. So what time is the event holding? Let's see, 4 p.m. So we have to change one. We can't use the same. And I'll duplicate this also. So say date should be 24th October 2024. I think I'm going to use centralized form. Then we'll now go for venue. The text are looking too big. So the venue is online. Let's say Google Meet. Or we can do Teams. Telegram. Let's need something that will network is bad. If you did connect to my internet. So White space and negative space are the spaces around a design, right? So we have to like think about that. So sorry, the internet is flipping. So here I'll align these ones together and align this also. So group this Ctrl G, group this also Ctrl G. So now I want to make sure that the space in between this and this is equal, right? But now the fact that this one is bigger than this, I might have a little issue. What I would have done is I would have hold it together, say group, and then hold this one and we'll click C, and everything is done. But I wouldn't go that route. What I would do is I'm going to place this one at the center first off and bring these ones together, Ctrl G. I might even use my eyes if I think my eyes can see what space is enough. But if you want to be sure, you can like draw a box in between them and duplicate it. Check, see, that's all right. So now I will hold everyone and say E. So you see that I'm applying the hierarchy and stuff that we talked about, the alignment and everything inside of this design. So what I'm going to do next now is I'm going to arrange this stuff to this side like this. So I'm thinking of covering this stuff also because, yeah, because this place is curved. So remember when we talked about repetition in design, right? So the fact that and when we talked about where's design elements, so because I have curved edges here, I have to like curve here also. If not, it's not going to really work well. It's like there's not enough space, so we can still reduce this ones. So everything we did here now is in black and white, right? So we didn't do much. So everybody should be able to like recreate this. So this is like standard how a flyer looks like. No much stress in it. So we say, okay, maybe we should just add we should add a logo to it. Let me check our WhatsApp group. Let me see how this logo even look like. I think it's just circles. So the disable logos are just circles, and I'm going to keep them also in black and white also. So 0.5 by 0.5. So we duplicate it like this. Duplicate. So we have this, and I'm going to put bottom, and I'll make it all black. So DESEP. I'm breaking them. I'll make everything white also. So I can take it up. So here's what you do. You click the first letter, hold the first circle, E and C, it goes to the center. This one should go here to EC, EC, and EC. It sounded like easy, right? digital skill and employment projects. So you can see here that everything we've learned, we have actually applied it in this design, right? Then we talked about hierarchy in design. So you see how the logo, which is like the brand logo, but we still made it very small compared to like the theme. So we have this design class info session, which is bigger. And yeah, introduction to what we wanted to do. And we are having speakers who would speak at the events. You can see their stuff here. So let's see whether we can have even a pattern that might even make sense here. Let me check these colors. If I don't have like a good pattern, I might not use a pattern last. Most of them are rubbish. See why I don't want to use it. So the pattern is like looking too rough to me. Let me see if I can change the color of this. So like this pattern is like this. We are going to make it transparent, right? Because since the pattern is shining too much, we can't actually see what we did here. I'm going to go to my transparency tool. So there's a tool here called the transparency tool. I'm not supposed to be touching this now, but we have to for now. So click on the transparency tool. And I'm going to click on here, which is the uniform transparency. So I can reduce it to like, let's say 90. It's going to show, but it's not going to show that much. So I can make it 95 safe. Because I don't need it to shine too much. So it's at the background. I don't know, this stuff should. I think there is somewhere I can change the color. Yeah. There's nothing like that. There's something I would have done to turn it to black and white, but that might be taking the class so deep than I want it to be. So the background is there, but it's very, very light. So I used transparency and I made it 97, right? So with like this, all I need to do now is like place pictures inside here. But I don't want to go into that for now, right? So you can see that from just all we have learned, I've been able to apply all the rules. So let me check. Let me go back to my notes and see how these rules applied in this simple and straightforward design. So we said balance. What does balance mean? Balance is distribution of visual elements symmetrically. So like I told you, there are various sections in a design, right? So various sections need different kind of balancing, right? So here now, let's start with this first part. So you can see this first text and this. If you bring out your ruler and measure these both sides, you realize that they are both aligned at the same. So it's looking like a mirroring session. If you have like this, so here is mirroring this one. So it's a bit balanced, right? So it's a bit balanced. And here, these particular ones, we can see that the kind of balance we use here is called symmetrical balance. You can see that each box are kind of equal and like they have each the same type of shape. Even here for the text, that is why we use the same kind of text. And possibly I would have gone for like left alignment here, but it would be looking off, right? So inside of the design, I told you we can apply symmetrical and asymmetrical. So in different sections, so I have to hold these ones together and click on C, click on it because I wanted like a centralized arrangement. So like I told you, for contrast, there is contrast in color, contrast in shape, contrast in text, and variations, right? So if you look at this design, the font I used is just one font. The name of this font is Gilroy, but we have font family. So we have not talked about typography yet. That's why I don't want to really explain deep into that. So this is just one font. I didn't like use like multiple kind of font. So this is a very simple font that you can use. So if you don't have Gilroy on your system when you are doing this, you can use Century Gothic. I think it's on every system, or TW Cent. Or you can stick to Area, because Area has Area Black, Area Narrow, and Area Regular. So you can use Area Black here and use just Area Medium here. So, but still yet is the same kind of font. Then alignment, I've already explained that using my rulers, you can see that each item on each position are aligned equally, right? Even the text here, you can see everyone here are aligned equally. So this is like the basic of design. This is what I did now. Every single person in this group here, if you follow the step by step I followed, you'll be able to like recreate this thing. And then we talked about proximity, that items that are placed together are perceived to be related. So you can see that my time and date and venue are in the same box. The theme and description of the design, they are in the same box, right? And the logo and their name are in a different section, right? So this is what we mean by design principles and elements. So if you apply these rules that we have talked about in any design you want to make, you find out that you make a very, very good design. All right. So I'll be exporting this stuff we did. I'll be exporting them and sending them to your WhatsApp group so that you too can also practice, try to recreate it exactly as I did. Remember what I said, design is not to start design. Design started from your eyes, right? So when you make the design, compare it with what I sent and check if what you did is not looking like what I did. Don't be too excited to run and send your assignment. Make sure it's looking at least a bit close to what I did. So two stuffs we are doing, this and then this. So remember what I said, when you draw something like this, you can just draw a box around it so that when you export, it's going to have like a background. So if you want for the full page, you can simply just, if you're using 2018, you can quickly just click on this box, double tap it. A box is going to appear at the background. So if you give it a color, you're going to see it. There's a box at the background, right? But we don't need that color. So make it to be no color and remove the airlines. So we're going to export this one. So somebody sends their CorelDRAW file. I'm going to show you how to export again so that we don't make that mistake. So here is the export button. If you click on this export or you click on Ctrl E, you go to your file that you created. So here is C12 assignments day 2. So I'm giving you 2 assignments. So I'm going to put A, day 2A. And you click on export. That is it. There's no much thing about that. Then when you click on export, this frame comes up. I told you that you're going to preview it and see if it's done properly. Then, okay, that is all. So, but before you export, I forgot to say something. When you hold everything together, click C and group it. Then check with this box that you drew. Click on C and E and make sure that it is at the center. Right, then click on P. Ensure that it's at the center. That is part of the arrangement that we are teaching. I'm going to go back here and export it again to replace the one I've sent before. Then you go to the second one and export also. This stuff is taking long to load. So when you export the second one, then you can now send to your phone and then submit. So for the flyer, you wouldn't need to draw a box around it, right? Because we want it to have that shape. Why are you on there? We want it to have like the actual shape that we have there. All right. So when you're done, you submit it in the group. All right. So does anybody have any question before we end this call right now? I'm kind of exhausted.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my own issue is around downloading that CorelDRAW application. I'm stuck at that serial number thing, and I'm not able to access it. I don't know how you can please be of assistance to us.
What CorelDRAW did you download? What year?
2022.
So I told you that you can
2020.
Google it. Were you the one that chatted me up?
Yes, I googled that thing. I couldn't find anything.
What do they call it? Crack code.
Is there another version that would be easier to download? So maybe I could try that one.
So when you Googled, what did you see actually?
I found one that said purchase. I should purchase something before I can do it, asking for credit card details and all of that. I don't know.
So I said choreography is crack code, right? So in case you don't see, but no stress about that. So remember what I said. I said everybody who is having issues with that should send me their mail in the group, right? In the group, just drop your email. Please, I'm going to like send to everybody. I'm going to send it in a zip file. So you have to download an unzipper and unzip it in your system. So inside of that one, I'm going to send you my serial code and both the software so you can download and install on your system. I think that's the best I can do. But another option is for you to go to a computer store where they install softwares and they will install for you. As simple as that. Because the one I send might not even still work for some people. They might find difficulty in installing it. So you can take any of the options that I just bring to your table. Any other person? Obinna.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Thank
sir.
you for the wonderful class. I really appreciate it, sir. But sir,
You're
please,
welcome, sir.
with your flyer, can you like explain more on the balance? Because in my eyes, it's appearing to me as if the design is tilted more to the left. Like most of the structures are more to the left than to the right. Can you please throw more light on the principle of balance?
All right. So even when you are typing, right? Let's say you're typing text, you realize that some texts are arranged to the left, right? In fact, basically, default setting is to the left. I don't know what just happened to this my corridor now. It has just hanged there. If now I would have done like a sample of what I'm talking about. So in balance, when making a design, you can either choose to align everything to the left, or you can choose to align everything to the right. Right? So if you are making a design and your design start like you are arranging from the left, it is better you stick everything to the left. So when you put some items to the left, then you now later shift them to the right, it's going to have a problem. I think this thing I'm saying you might not really understand. Wait, let me get. I think I exported some assignments here. All right. So look at this example now. This is what we did for them when I was explaining balance. So if you look at my name is Joshua, I'm a graphic designer. You can see that everything here, the arrangement is going to the left, right? So this is left alignment balance, right? Now here I use right alignment. So most times when you are designing, if your text is arranged in the left form, that is what you want to go. Every other thing you're doing should be tilted to the left also. So it's not advisable that you put some here, you put some here, you put some here. The design is not going to look arranged properly. So then I did alignment to the right here also, where all my arrangements is going. Then now you can see this one is centralized. So my name is blah blah blah, even the tanks on the center. Now, here, and I did an asymmetrical arrangement, right? Where I said different. Somebody mic is on. I'm hearing myself.
I still.
Where you have arrangement going this way and you have arrangement also. So, like I did in the design, I showed you that there are different aspects in design that every. Oh Jesus Christ! Kilo and Bell, when off your mic. So these are alignment to the left and alignment to the right. So that is kind of like an asymmetrical alignment. So inside of the design, there are different compartments, right? So let's say, for example, this flyer now, if your actions line to the left, inside of your design, there are different sections. So if a particular section is going to the left, so you have to tilt everyone there to the left. Here, we have this one's going to the center with the pictures here. I think this is looking like what we did before. Then this one's here are arranged in the center. So what you are going to look at is you're going to look at the different segments of the design, the different segments of the design. But if you now look at this flyer completely, the overall arrangement, you realize that the arrangement I use here is a centralized arrangement, whereby here and here is at the center, of this presents at the center. 3 days tech workshop is at the center. Then even though here is at the left, here is at the center. When I group that, I meant center. But if I had make a different kind of arrangement, I would have moved like W Tech, Women Tech would have been here, present here, this job move to this side, and like that. So you might choose most times to use completely centralized arrangement for everything, or you can apply an asymmetrical arrangement. And most times when making designs of flyers, we use asymmetrical arrangement, whereby different sections are arranged properly, but in different shapes. Do you understand what I said?
Yes, sir. I understand, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. So I'll be ending the call. So I'll try to like open my CorelDRAW again and re-export all this. So thank you for coming today. So something happened today. That was why I could not hold the class from 3 to 5. But I believe nothing will hold our class from holding 3 to 5 tomorrow. But in case it doesn't happen, I'm going to like give you info about that. So please try and do your assignment. For those people that already have it installed, try and do your assignment. For those that don't have it installed, try and get it installed. All right. Good night and do have a nice rest. So please, right now, as we are leaving the call, everybody please leave. Because if you do not leave, I cannot get my recorded video. All right. So good night.
Good night, sir. Thank
Good
you.
night, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Have a wonderful night rest.